Okay, well, my name is Stephen Dobbs. I work at the University of Western Australia in Asian Studies. My background is that I was actually born in New Zealand, and I spent most of my, early formative years in New Zealand. So I grew up there, did my primary school education there. I grew up in a rural part of New Zealand, so I grew up in a farming area. And then I did my high school years there as well, although I finished high school pretty early at 14, so I never completed my high school studies at all. And I then kind of moved to Australia in my mid to late teens with family at the time, being raised as a Jehovah's Witness actually. But it was one of those things that later in life I would come to reject wholeheartedly, and also helped to kind of shape the way I view many issues in the contemporary world that we live in. So it was the case that within the context of that sort of upbringing, there was a de-emphasising of education. Everybody was convinced that the end of the world was coming. I grew up in a family where people were convinced you weren't going to go to high school because the end of the world would happen before then, and then if you did get to high school you weren't going to finish high school because the end of the world would happen before then. So it was that kind of environment that I grew up in, and I basically seen that later as having hindered or held back my own potential when I was younger. So it's made me staunchly pro-education. It's made me staunchly kind of, not force, but to kind of direct my own children as they have been growing up to, pursue sort of academic studies, even if they intended ultimately not to do anything with them, but to at least pursue some sort of academic studies. And I'm quite happy with the fact that my 3 children have all pursued and finished university studies and so on. I don't hide the fact that I have left-wing views of the world, and I don't expect students to agree with those views, but I hope they think about them. That's kind of, and I don't think you can be neutral. I'm definitely not neutral on anything. I'm out there campaigning on every issue that is. If there's a rally, I'm going to be there.